आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। नगर नगर ये ग्राम और ये गलियारे, भरने इनमें नवजीवन के उजियारे। नगर नगर ये ग्राम और ये गलियारे, भरने इनमें नवजीवन के उजियारे। बार बार हम दोहराते हैं यही कसम, यही कसम, यही कसम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। हमें हटाना घर घर से अंधियारा है, हमें तोड़नी पाखंडों की कारा है। हमें हटाना घर घर से अंधियारा है, हमें तोड़नी पाखंडों की कारा है। सच को कहने वाली चलती रहे कलम, चलती रहे कलम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। कदम मिलाकर नर नारी सब और बढ़े, ज्ञान और विज्ञान नए सोपान चढ़े। कदम मिलाकर नर नारी सब और बढ़े, ज्ञान और विज्ञान नए सोपान चढ़े। देना है संदेश यही हमको हरदम, यही हमको हरदम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क
This is Dr. Tanushri Mukherjee. I am Associate Professor, Amity School of Communication, as well as Deputy Director, Amity University, Rajasthan, Jaipur campus. Today, I would be delivering a very brief lecture on corporate identity, what its significance, its relevance, and why is it very important in the today's present business scenario for an organization to have a very distinctive and a very unique corporate identity. And at the same time, I would also be focusing on some of its important strategies as well as elements. So first of all, I would just like to say कि in today's fiercely competitive business scenario, we see every brands, trying out its level best to reach out to all its stakeholders. When we teach such subjects like public relations and corporate communication, actually these are primarily the major communication disciplines or the major communication management disciplines which tries to ensure as to how the companies and how the brands can reach out to the people in a very effective manner. Because in today's competitive scenario, we see every organization trying out all kinds of strategies, whether they are all kinds of digital marketing strategies, social media marketing strategies, all kinds of integrated marketing communication strategies, ICT tools, or all kinds of artificial intelligence platforms. We don't find any of the brands lacking in any of these areas. Every organization is trying its level best as to how to ensure that we can just attract the attention of our stakeholders and primarily the customers. So in today's scenario, when we find every organization trying out all kinds of ways and measures to stay very strong in the market and to have a great positioning in the market, what is exactly the significance of corporate identity management? This is a very important topic which we often refer to and we cover in case of subject like corporate communication. So I would just start sharing my PPT in order to discuss about this topic more in detail. This is the exact area that I would focus on today. We all have been coming across all such words like, brand management, branding, all kinds of branding strategies. But above all, something which is most important is how can an organization present itself in the best possible manner in front of all its stakeholders. So that is something which is very, very important. What do the stakeholders remember when they remember a brand? We find all kinds of organizations in the present scenario, some of the very leading successful brands which have been there in the market and which have got highly significant and strong reputation in the market. But exactly what do the stakeholders think about these brands when the name of these brands comes into their mind? So is it something very distinguishable? It can be just one single word. What comes to your mind when you take the name of Apple? What comes to your mind when you remember Nike? What comes to your mind when you remember Dove? So this is something that the brands needs to have today. I just started off by saying that in today's kind of, online digital media presence, there is no such digital marketing strategies where any of the brands are lacking. But still, why is it that some of the brands are really highly successful in the market? They have got their own line of very trustworthy, loyal stakeholders. Why is it that some of the customers always prefer buying the products of a particular brand or a brand organization? Maybe they might be liking the products. Maybe they might be liking their visual identity management strategies. Maybe they might be liking their customer sales policy, their customer service. So whatever it is in today's times, a corporate organization has to excel in one of its area in a very significant way. So this is actually the meaning of corporate identity, because we always say that a brand or an organization should ensure what is the image of the people about that organization in their minds. But before we talk about corporate image, identity is something which is very important. First, an organization should try to build up a very strong persona of itself in the minds of its internal and external stakeholders. So here we come down to the actual meaning of corporate identity. Corporate identity is how a brand shows itself in front of its stakeholders. How does it present itself in front of its internal as well as stakeholders? It is having various branches, it is having various facets, but then ultimately, how is it able to present itself in front of the people at large with something very distinguishable, with something very unique? Because that is something which is very much required in today's time. At least one area, at least one attribute, at least one specific area where your brand is really leading in the market. So that is exactly. So before I begin with what is corporate identity, you can see some of the very significant and important points which have been given by Taylor Brands. So before I move into explaining what is corporate identity, what are its elements, these are some of the very important statistics which has been given by Taylor Brands. It's a very important, digital, brand promotion platform. It's a very significant platform which takes care of making logos and all, artificial intelligence, brand promotion platforms. But some of the major observations which it has pointed out, it clearly points out towards the direction that the time has come that in any one particular area or maybe in totality, the corporates has to really excel, and it has to stay on in the minds of the people, or it has to attract the minds of the customers or the stakeholders in a very strong manner. Some of the major findings you can see: cost, experience, quality, and consistency are the top four qualities. Very, very important. The experience which the people have with the brand, the cost, the quality, and consistency in everything is something which is very, very important. Whether it is communication, whether it is relationship building, consistency, whether it is content writing, content posting, these are the four very important, significant things which nowadays really attracts the attention of the stakeholders. And there is absolutely no element of doubt in it. A study of consumer behavior showed 94% of consumers are likely to be loyal towards a brand which has got absolute transparency. So I was just saying, what is a brand's persona in the market? How does an organization represent in the market? How do the people remember a brand in the market? This is the meaning of its corporate identity. So these are some of the very significant observations or pointers brought out by Taylor Brands. 86% of shoppers, they prefer an authentic and honest brand personality. So whatever the brand is coming up with its content, they are very engaging content, they are very interesting content, but it should be fully factual, fully authentic. And we all are aware of the fact that in today's social media scenario, this authenticity and credibility is really talked about and debated a lot. 89% of shoppers stay loyal to the brands that share their values. Every brand has got a corporate mission. Every brand has got a corporate vision. Every brand has got a corporate purpose. Every brand has got certain set of values. But then how much does it stick on to its values? How much does it really exhibit and follow the values? This is greatly noticed by its stakeholders. Maybe somewhere these things really help in ensuring that a brand has got a very strong identity in the market. And identity is something which can really bring business to you. It is so simple. All those brands, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all the brands under Hindustan Unilever, they are all having a very firm, strong identity in their own area. And if you're having that, if you're noticed by the people, that surely increases your reputation. And if the reputation increases, that brings really business. That enhances your image in the market. 3/4 of small businesses invest in social media marketing as a significant part of their brand strategy. Needless to say that is a very important, all kinds of online social media strategies and innovating every day on what can be my new social media strategy. That is really the buzzword. 77% of consumers purchase items based on their brand name rather than the name of the object itself. This is something which is extremely important. And this is exactly corporate identity. Before a consumer goes and buys a L'Oreal product, they are actually loving that brand. They are having certain things which comes in their mind as soon as they remember L'Oreal, and which is far different from maybe other brands. So that one single thing, or maybe a kind of many other values or attributes, is something which every brand should aspire to make in today's time. So these are some of the wonderful points which tell it is very important for organizations to take care of their strong identity building. And it can be anything starting from their products to their beautiful culture, to their digital management strategies, digital media strategies, and above all the design strategy. So these all areas and these all specific areas are there which are included in corporate identity management. When we talk about corporate identity, I just now said visual things are also very important. And under visual things, colors, the colors of the brand. So these are some of the wonderful findings without going too much into detail. So I would immediately begin with my corporate identity management. But these are some of the wonderful observations of Taylor brand. Color improves brand recognition by up to 80%. 33% of the world's top 100 brands have logos that really include the blue color. So what is the logo of the brand? What is the meaning of the logo of the brand? What is the color of the logo of the brand? What is the meaning of the color of that logo of the brand? So these all things are certain things which nowadays is really looked upon, and they create a very strong identity of a company in the market. So it takes 10 seconds for people to form an opinion about your logo. Brands which have got strong blogs, they generate 67% more leads than companies without a blog. So you are just finding over here that everything is important in order to create a very strong corporate identity of an organization in today's scenario. 80% of readers believe authentic content is the main factor that will drive them to follow or engage with the brand. So if we want that our company's name should be very distinct, something very firm in the market, people should remember our brand when we talk about transparency, when we talk about quality. So for that, accuracy and authenticity of the contents of all kinds of interactions with the stakeholders is again something which is very, very important. So these are some of the wonderful, observations, some of the wonderful points that has been pointed out by this great, brand promotion platform called Taylor Brand. So now I begin with corporate identity. This is a very interesting topic which is a part of corporate communication. So when we talk that the organization in today's times should develop new ways and means to communicate with its stakeholders. So corporate identity is a very significant element of corporate communication. So if a brand wants to communicate to its stakeholders in a very significant way, it should really work on its persona building. It's very simple. Like each and every individual person, they are remembered for certain attributes of theirs. We remember a person for certain qualities, for certain values, for certain attributes, and we say that this is your persona, this is your personality. So similar way, a brand should also have its own distinct personality. And that is actually corporate identity. What is the persona of a brand? How does a brand portray itself in the market? And it cannot come just by one simple small thing. A brand has to be equally active in various areas. So we'll come to that. Identity sets the tone of a brand, definitely. How the people talk about a brand. What comes in the minds of the people when they take the name of Apple? What comes in the minds of the people as soon as they remember Infosys? So it sets the mood, it sets the tone of the stakeholders towards a brand. So that kind of identity an organization should really try to build up. It evokes specific emotions, loyalty, feelings of the employees or primarily the consumers, the customers towards a brand. And specifically, it has been seen that when we talk about corporate identity, this is something which is very important. Corporate identity or the persona or the personality of a brand, it is built up by various elements, It can be the product, it can be the unique culture. Corporate culture is something which is again very significant. It can be the culture of an organization, it can be the governance, it can be the corporate governance policies, very much participatory, transparent, fair corporate governance policies of an organization. It can even be the CSR strategies of an organization, which builds up its very strong corporate identity. But there is, besides all this, another very interesting area which builds up a very strong corporate identity, which are the design and branding elements, which also significantly contribute towards building up a very strong corporate identity of an organization. You might have heard that whenever we use the word corporate identity, it includes all kinds of visual identity, trademark elements, design elements. We are talking about good products, but then logo of a company is also equally important. Many people love a company, they are fan of a company, they can wait for many months for to let that product come in the stores because they love that company, they love the logo of the company. That logo speaks of a brand. The logo of some of the famous popular products, KFC, McDonald's, they have also contributed a lot in building up a very strong corporate identity. You need not even have to say that this is McDonald's. The logo speaks, the tagline speaks. So these are again a very important, elements of corporate identity. Besides, when we talk about culture, products, digital marketing strategies, the corporate culture of the behavior of the people of an organization, they build a very strong identity. But then the design elements are also equally important. They create a kind of very distinguishable, noticeable image of a brand in the market. We notice a brand by its wonderful design element, whether it has got a blue color, whether it has got a yellow color, red color, how good its logo. So design and trademark elements are also some things which are very, very important element of building the corporate identity of an organization. So the distinctive characteristics or the personality of an organization, corporate culture, values, philosophy, all of these, how they are developed, how they are inculcated, and how they are informed to the people, they form a very significant part of a company's corporate identity. Nowadays, a number of surveys which has been done, it has shown that the employees, specifically the internal stakeholders, they really join a company or they leave a company because of its corporate culture. So corporate culture is again something which is very, very important. Companies can have different kinds of cultures, team culture, collaborative culture. So what is something which keeps the employees very happy? What is something which really encourages them to come into the organization in the early morning? What is something which encourages them and motivates them to give their 100%? It is the culture of the organization. It may not always be the salary. It may not always be the perks. It may not always be the salary. It is so true. What is the work environment existing inside an organization? Some of the companies, maybe their products may not be so awesome. Their products may not be having a great profit in the market, but their culture is something which is very distinct. Culture is something which really makes everybody join that organization. The Googlers, they're always happy of the culture of their organization. Facebook has got its own different, distinct culture. The values of an organization, the philosophy of an organization. These are some of the very important elements, again, which builds a strong identity of an organization. And I was just now talking about the fact design materials. So when we talk about corporate identity, all these things are equally important. A factor which influences the corporate image of an organization is so important. If we want to ensure that the customers, all the external stakeholders, the customers, the opinion leaders, media, government, all these people, they have a very good image of the organization. So first, the organization needs to portray itself very beautifully in front of the people. We always say, what is the difference between corporate identity and corporate image? That brings us to another very important, significant word, that is corporate image. What is the difference between corporate identity and corporate image? Corporate identity is all those things which is projected from the side of the organization. And corporate image is the perception of the people. what kind of perception, what kind of opinion the people have about that organization. But what perception I am having about Subway, what perception I am having about Sprite, what perception I am having about KFC, that will only depend upon how KFC is projecting itself in front of the people. So we always say that identity first has to be communicated and presented in front of the people in a very strong way. So it definitely includes all elements of corporate branding and trademarks. Any particular organization can be very active on a social media platform. It can be coming up with all kinds of very engaging contents. So that is also contributing in building up a very strong corporate identity of that particular organization. So it is the distinct corporate personality of an organization. Corporate identity is your business face in the market. As soon as I close my eyes, how do I remember Philips? How do I remember Sony? So that one single word may be something in which you have really worked upon. Whenever we remember Apple, innovativeness comes into our mind and we say this is their persona. And whatever Apple is doing, that is in the direction of showcasing and exhibiting that we are a very innovative brand in the market. It can be any one of their digital strategies. It can be any one of their very innovative product which has come up in the market, or maybe Google coming up with some different kind of a logo or a different kind of a tagline. But everywhere you find a touch of innovativeness, because that is something, that is the face of Google in the market. That is the face of Apple in the market. Apple is always known for innovative products as well as good quality products, but innovative, technologically highly developed products. So what comes to the mind of the customers when they hear the name of your company? So that much strong a company or an organization's identity should be in the market. Identity depicts the core competencies of a corporate organization. So what are the values? What are the strengths? What are the key distinguishing features and elements in regard to the functioning of an organization? So how a company, basically by using all these different kinds of elements, which I literally little bit started off, how is it able to create a persona in the market? How is it able to create a face of it in the market? I am having a particular identity for which I am known by the people. Everybody has got a particular element as a part of its identity by which they are known by the. So similarly, what is that face of a company? And this is something is which is very important. Otherwise, a company is lost in the clutter. Otherwise, there is too much of business noise. So many brands. Consumers are spoiled with so many options, different products, different brands in the market. But how will you ensure that the consumers notice you in the market? Consumers pick you in the market. Consumers remember you in the market. How will you ensure that you're having a long-standing firm reputation in the market? So for that, identity building is something which is very important and very significant. So well-managed corporate identity can be a powerful means of integrating the many disciplines and activities essential to an organization's success. Definitely. If an organization is proud of its corporate culture and it feels its culture is one of the most highest rank or one of the most highly praiseworthy or distinguishing elements of its corporate identity, so it should definitely try to ensure that the culture is followed everywhere, in every department, in every area of its functioning, in every speaking of that organization, in every area of representation of that organization. That culture should speak out. If it is having a team-based culture, whatever the company does, we should get a hint that it is being done and executed by a teamwork. They're having a great team spirit. So it should be noticeable in every aspect of functioning of that organization. Then we can say that culture is the most important element of the identity of this XYZ organization. It can be something. Now you can go to the second point. It can also provide the visual cohesion necessary to ensure that all corporate communications are coherent with each other. Definitely. When we talk about corporate identity, I said the products are a very important element of corporate identity. The employees are some people, the very important internal stakeholders. who also contribute a lot in ensuring that the identity is built up in a very strong way. Culture can be a very important part of building a strong company's identity, but then the design aspects, the visual, aspects which the people notice and which the people see, which the people get attracted, they are also a very important component or element of corporate identity. So what is exactly how a company should go about? So in order to create a very good corporate identity, this is a very important slide. First, it's very important for organizations to have strong set of values, value proposition. Now, in order to implement those values, in order to execute those values, you should develop your capability. The organization should have the proper resources, the proper skill set, the proper guidelines, the proper policies, so that you can really create those values. You can implement. Just having the values is not enough. But how will you implement those values? That is something which is very important. And last, what are the different types of products and services which an organization finally comes up with, by which you implement your values, by which you show your skills, capabilities, and qualities? So first, an organization should build up some values. Second, how will it implement those values? And you are ultimately implementing all those values and skills in the final outcome, which is either the product or the services of the organization. So an organization should be very clear in regard to these areas. What are some of the advantages if a company has got a very strong identity in the market? Now, if you say Infosys, Infosys is always concerned very much about its employees. It's really concerned very much about its employees. When we talk ITC, we can take many names. ITC's identity is very firm in the market, just not for its products, but highly, appreciated CSR strategy. ITC is the company which has spent crores amount of money in CSR. And right now we are having Infosys leading the chart. Earlier it was Tata, but now we find Infosys coming up even far ahead of Tata in terms of CSR. So these are certain things which has built up its identity. So what are some of the advantages? What are some of the benefits if a company has got a very strong identity? It creates distinctiveness of the company or brand in the market. It definitely creates a kind of awareness, visibility. If a brand is really good in all its aspects, in all its different areas of functioning, and it is remembered for a specific set of its skill set, values, products or services, it is really noticed by the people. It has got great visibility, awareness. It creates an impact in the minds of the people and definitely contributing towards image and reputation building. So I'm just telling it again, first, it is important to build up a very strong identity, your face in the market. It can be through any means, it can be through various elements. But first, building a persona is very, very important. If you are very much working on it, if an organization is working on it, definitely the image of the people would be very good. And if the image of the people is very good for a significant amount of time, then that leads to very good reputation building. We always say it's identity, image, and then reputation. You get the support of all stakeholders. So important. You get the support of employees, you get the support of consumers. Consumers love to buy the products of an organization whose identity is very firm in the market, whose identity is really, it has been the same for many years. So it creates a strength, a feeling of commitment among the stakeholders towards that organization. So these are a couple of few advantages if a company is having a very strong corporate identity. So what are the elements which contribute in strong corporate identity? Definitely, if a company has got a good vision, good purpose, and it has got great brand positioning strategy. How does a brand position itself in the market? How does a brand really comes up on the digital platform? That creates how does a brand comes up with different kinds of engaging contents? How does a brand publicize itself on the social media? So how does a brand position? Some of the brands market positioning strategies are very innovative. So that creates a very strong identity of that particular brand in the market. If an organization has got great vision, every organization should have a very good corporate mission and well laid down, well documented. Every organization should have a well documented mission as well as vision. Vision which really inspires the people. Yes, we all have to work to achieve that vision. So a vision that inspires the people to give their best. So that again helps in building up a very strong identity. Branding. So a company's strong branding. When we talk about corporate identity and the name of a company in the market, the face of a company in the market, I said the visual aspects, the design aspects are very, very important. And we cannot, say any one of these points is less important. The name of a company, what kind of name you give to that company, logo of a company. From far distant area, if we see that Puma's logo, we say it is the logo of Puma. So from far distant area, we notice the logo and we say, this is the logo of Audi, this is the logo of BMW, this is the logo of Maruti, the tagline of a company, all the graphic design elements of a company, the stationaries, how rich they are, how professional looking they are, how consistent they are, the color, the typography. So all kinds of trademark, and we'll come to that more, the branding elements of a company, they also create, a kind of, memorable, strong identity of a brand in the market. People really, get moved when they see a beautiful logo of a particular brand. And if the people are really loyal, I've seen many of the stakeholders, they are loyal towards the brand and they're so much loyal. If the brand changes their logo, they may not like it. So that means that more than the brand, sometimes the people are more in love with the logo. They are so loyal towards a brand. Logo contributes to a great extent in building up a strong corporate identity. So some of the logos are very simple, attractive, but yet very memorable. Now Nike has got a very simple logo, that swoosh logo. It's so simple, but nationally, globally, entire globe, you don't have to even say, just by showing that logo, people say it's Nike. And maybe sometimes, maybe if Nike wants to change its identity and it just as a part of it, if it changes its logo, people may not like it because people are in love with the logo. So these all things also create a very strong identity of an organization in the market. We just move ahead. Now, if we want to have a very good, strong identity in the market, we should have clearly unique, distinguishable features. So I said a company can have a very good visual identity, very good design elements. It can have wonderful trademarks, wonderful stationaries, or it can have very good, strong array of products, highly, rich, highly qualitative products. Or it can be the employees of an organization, it can be the culture of an organization. So what are the elements and the features? It is something which is very, very important. And then stability. Any organization, if it wants to have a very strong name in the market, whatever are the very unique aspects of its identity, normally a company never wants to change it until and unless there is some kind of need for it. A company would not be every now and then changing its mission. None of the companies changes their logo every now and then, because that is something by which they are remembered in the market. That is a very important element of their visual identity. Visual identity is something which is very important. So corporate identity should include certain features and elements. Those features and elements which are very much stable in the market, which are central, which is being followed everywhere in the uniform way, and above all, very much unique, very much distinguishable. Everybody wants to have a different persona. Everybody wants to be remembered by a different name. Everybody wants that I should be called by the people with something very different. People should remember me by this name, which nobody else has. So this is something which is very, very important for the brands and for the companies to focus. What is that thing which is very different and very unique and very special for only our organization? So then we can say that this is their face in the market. This is their identity in the market. Moving ahead, this is a very important slide. We saw what is the meaning of corporate identity. We definitely saw some of its characteristics. But then exactly what are those components which builds up a very strong corporate identity? First is the wonderful products and services of the organization. Nothing can replace it. We all public relations people are remembered for creating good stories, for coming up with wonderful narratives, for coming up with interesting stories. But then we cannot create stories, we cannot come up with a very good content. We are knowing about different social media platforms. We know how to write a content, but still we cannot come up with a content if the products are not good. First and foremost, the most important and essential element to build up a strong identity is products. How different are the products? How innovative are the products? How revolutionary are the products? What kind of revolution the products brought in the market? What is the quality of the products? How the people are being informed about the products? So products and services of the organization. I have just rightly put it up like that corporate identity mix. So products and services of the organization is something which is very, very important. Many of these points I've taken from the book of Iqbal Sachdeva. He has written a very good chapter on corporate identity. So the author has very rightly said how to build up a very strong, remembered persona in the market. So it has been rightly said, this is the mix, like we say, marketing mix. So what is the meaning of corporate identity mix? And what all things are included under it? Number one is products and services of the organization. Nothing can replace it. The employees can have a very good behavior. The employees' approach towards the customers can be really very good. But then if the services of an organization is not good, we cannot work out on any of the fronts. So products and services are very, very important to create and build up a very strong identity of an organization. Second is the design, the corporate design. Why do we say that a company should have a very good brochure? Why do we say that a company should have very good internal publications? It should have a magazine. It should have a wonderful newsletter. Why do the companies nowadays feel that newsletter, wonderfully designed newsletter with very rich content speaks a lot? It really keeps the stakeholders very much interested in the organization. No matter even if that newsletter is only internal or whether it is external, but it has got wonderful stories, wonderful contents that makes the people happy about the organization, that makes the people feel more confident that this organization is really doing very good. So brochures, newsletters, flyers, catalogs, these all are very, very important. Why do we require strong branding materials like banners, backdrops, logos, letterheads, stationaries? They build up a very strong identity and they come under the design element of corporate identity. Next is, third is corporate communication. How an organization communicates. What are the various corporate communication strategies of an organization? So it can be what kinds of internal communications are there, how the communication is done with the employees, what are the various strategies and tools used for it, how an organization is communicating with the external people, with the customers, with all certain social groups, associations, how an organization is creating good relations with the media. So communication, information management, public relations, how you are communicating to the people, how you're informing the people about what new an organization is doing, how we can even say during crisis management, during issue management, how is an organization communicating? We cannot handle everything by having very good designs. So you can see all of these are important. And we cannot also handle everything by having very good communication and design, but not having very good product. So if an organization wants to build up a very strong, remembered identity in the market, it has to really work on these corporate identity mix. And the last is corporate behavior. So what are the values? What are the behavioral patterns of the employees of the organization? This is also something which is very, very important. How do the company employees, what are their behavior? How do they interact with the people? What is the culture? What is the work mode? What is the work environment of an organization? That also people notice. And once when the people notice, they tell it to many more people. That is the word of mouth. Culture is something which really drives the people to give their best. Culture is exactly not related with the products. Culture is how the people do their work, how the people feel in an organization. It is something which is very, very important. If you want to retain talented and good employees in your organization, if you want to have 100% good employee retention and employee engagement, companies need to really work on their culture. What makes the people stay on in the organization? A lot of studies and surveys, they have shown the most important reason behind high rate of employee satisfaction, high rate of employee engagement, high rate of employee retention is the corporate culture, the behavior of the people of the organization, how people interact, how people get the things done, how the people behave. So this is also something which creates a very strong element of corporate identity. So it is the product, it is the design elements, it's the corporate communication and corporate behavior. And in every area, a company needs to really work upon to create a very strong corporate identity. But now the question comes, how to go about with it? How to go about with this? This slide is extremely important. This slide is very, very important. And I've just rightly numbered the points. How can I create? How can I manage? How can I come up with a very strong corporate identity? So these are the points, and they're exactly in this order. In order to build up a very strong identity, first you need to do a very good amount of a research. You need to you do a very good kind of an identity audit. How do the people remember you? How do the people talk about you? What are they talking about? Do you need to bring any kind of change in your policy? Do you need to really renovate or rejuvenate your product? Do you need to really bring up something new in terms of your visual identity? So before you think and decide what kind of culture you should have, what kind of new products you can come up with, or what new kind of corporate communication strategies you should have, first do a kind of research, first do a kind of audit. How do the stakeholders take my name? How do they remember me? What is required? So we always say that research and audit is something which is very, very important. So conduct an identity audit. Maybe you are thinking your logo is very, very good. Maybe you think like that you can go ahead with the logo. You can go ahead with the logo. Now Dunkin' Donuts, the logo was very much mentioning over it, Dunkin' Donuts. But when they did a kind of an audit, they saw, donuts, when we say, it sometimes clashes with people who are very much, health conscious, people who are very much, concerned about whatever we are eating, whether it is really, we should eat or not, whether it is really something which will add up, in the category of making me maybe, fat, something like that. So all those health conscious people, when they thought of, they said maybe we can go away, we can remove the word donut. So now they're having Dunkin'. Same with KFC. They also did a kind of an audit. Earlier, KFC was having their full name, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Wherever you could see KFC, they were having Kentucky Fried Chicken. But then again, when they did a kind of an audit, when they again did a kind of a research, they saw, no, this word, yes, this fried word is not going. People are very health conscious. And when they are consuming too much of a fried items, people nowadays don't prefer them. People are really concerned about what are our intakes, what we are eating. So definitely now they definitely made the name little bit short. It's still Kentucky Fried Chicken, but you don't find the full name written so that it is very much visible. If you write it Kentucky Fried Chicken, that fried becomes very much visible in front of you. So they have done something which is very smart. They have just made the things like KFC. They have just shortened the words and they have just used the abbreviation KFC. Although if we just try to come to the entire word, it is still Kentucky Fried Chicken. But KFC is something which they felt at least that fried word is not coming in a written form in front of them. So every brand, every organization, if it wants to bring about something new as a part of its corporate identity, it should go for doing a kind of an audit. It should take the feedback of the people. And this is something which is very, very important. If you do the audit, if you take the feedback of the people, then you come up introducing certain things in your identity which definitely the people will like, which is as per their expectations. And I discussed it in the beginning of this particular session only, ki identity, if a brand has got very strong identity in the market, it gets full commitment and support from the side of the stakeholders. So in order to have that, first you should know what the stakeholders want. And once when you're doing a very good kind of an identity audit, then you create your identity objective. What exactly you want to do, what the people want, and how will you do it, and what will you do as a part of it. And once when you're clear with the objectives, then how will you develop and design them? So you should come up with different kinds of designs. How can I really fulfill those objectives? And when you come up with various kinds of designs, you can have some prototypes of. Can I come up with more prototypes of those designs? That is something which is very, very significant, very, very important. If you come up with the fact that, okay, we need to change our logo, we have done a kind of an audit. So our objective is that first we will go for a kind of a change in the logo. So then you should definitely start brainstorming and working. How can a company or a brand come up with a new logo? And that logo has to definitely go with the essence of the brand, the main essence of the brand. What is the main mission and the vision? What is the main nature of working or the operation of the brand? Logos are always based on that. So how can I come up and design a new logo? And once when you come up and design a new logo, then you think of coming up with various prototypes. What is the meaning of prototypes? Different merchandise items. Different merchandise items where you can showcase your logo. Different merchandise items where you can highlight that logo so that your logo becomes more popular. Like for example, when the Krish movie came, in various different products, whether it's a goodie bag, whether it's a pen, that Krish mask, that Krish that kind of a design was coming. And ultimately, when you have come up with different merchandise items, how will you launch it? How will you launch that thing? How will you make the people know? Because many a times people don't like a change in the logo, people don't like a change in the name, because people don't know what is the reason behind it. People have not been communicated properly, have not launched that properly. So if an organization wants to have a very good identity, even if you bring a change in your culture, even if you bring a change in any of your policies, even if you bring a change in any of your publication things, it should be very well communicated to them. And finally, you have to implement it with consistency, with great rigor. So these are the steps which really an organization needs to follow if it wants to have a very good identity in the market. So what are some of the typical identity issues that already we have discussed? If an organization is having a very good corporate identity, what can be, some of the various benefits and advantages? Obviously, it can come up as a leader in the market. So I would not take so much of time in this because we're having time constraints. It can have a great financial soundness. So maybe something innovative an organization is doing that is building up its very strong corporate identity. An organization knows how to utilize all its resources. It can be either the employees who are very good resources. It can be the infrastructure of the organization. They're all corporate assets. So an organization is using its assets. That can build up a very strong corporate identity. And now we come down to a very important part. What are the various types or elements of corporate identity? So we can divide it into two categories. One is the non-visual and the other one is visual elements of corporate identity. So the non-visual elements of corporate identity are all those elements which we don't design. They don't include logo or tagline or brochure or catalog, but still they create a very strong corporate identity. So they are all called non-visual elements of corporate identity. Like a company's sales policy. What are the sales policies of a company? How do they execute their marketing and sales operation? What are the customer service policy of an organization? How do you create good relations with your customers? How do you inform the customers? How do you really handle the customers' complaints, grievances? So that also creates and builds up a very strong corporate identity. Telephonic communication of an organization, all correspondences of an organization, mail correspondence, you're not designing them. So they are all non-visual. So all those elements of corporate identity, which doesn't require a software, which doesn't require a kind of designing, but still they create a very strong corporate identity. So a company's employees' behavior, a company's customer relations policy, a company's sales styles and policy, as well as all kinds of publicity activities which an organization conducts. All kinds of publicity events, publicity strategies, that also comes under the non-visual elements of corporate identity. And next is the visual elements that we have already discussed. The visual elements of corporate identity. This, in fact, I can say, when we talk about corporate identity and when I take up this subject, 50 to 60% of corporate identity is really built up by its highly attractive visual elements. Those elements, those tools which are designed and which people really love. You come up with a blog, but how you design your blog is very important. You come up with a website. Your website has got very beautiful, wonderful contents, but how you have created the tabs, what is the landing page of the website? So how visually appealing it is. So how do the people feel as soon as they land up to their website? What is the logo of the company? Some of the logos, they are very simple. Apple logo is also very simple, but then there is a great meaning behind it. The designers, the creative team might have brainstormed a lot, and they would never ever prefer to go with a kind of a change in the logo until unless it is required, because the people know that brand by the logo. Wherever you put that logo, people come to say this is the logo of Apple. McDonald's logo is so extremely famous. So extremely famous. So when we talk about visual elements, they are also equally important. We saw non-visual elements, but visual elements includes all the design elements of corporate identity, like logo, the colors of an organization, the typography, how or which kind of typography a company uses, whether it is Times Roman, whether it is Garamond, whether it is Verdana. That also really creates a professional touch to an organization. The tagline of a company, the prototypes which are designed, the mnemonic devices. So these are a couple of points which I took from the book of Iqbal Satya, but they are very important. So what are some of the visual elements of corporate identity? These all corporate logos, they are so popular. Coca-Cola, FedEx, BMW, you can see a couple of few logos. They are so much remembered and they are so popular. CNN, Walmart, Honda, definitely many more logos you will find in the market. Just I gave the example of Nike, its logo is so extremely famous in the market. So these are a very important element and aspect of the visual element of corporate identity. When we talk about logos, there are again certain words and terms which are used. Like for example, logotype, isotype, and imagotype. Now, what is the difference between these three? So I've just taken the example of one company, which is Nike. So all those places where you find that only the text is given, like Nike, Nike, it is a logotype. And where you find that you're just having a kind of an icon, like you find this swoosh, you're just having a kind of a symbol or an icon, it is called as isotype. And where you are having both the icon and the text, what you find over here, so that is called as a imagotype. So these are the various, innovative ways by which a brand really wants to reach out and it wants to catch the attention of the people and the masses. It can go for just the text, it can go for the icon along with the text. Nike has got all these three. Now this is again another something little bit different, ISO logotype. Now ISO logotype is that kind of a way of visually representing a brand where you find that there is text in it as well as an icon in it, but you cannot separate it. What is the difference between ISO logotype and what is the difference between imagotype? Now imagotype, you can either separate Nike and just go with swoosh, or you can just keep Nike, remove the swoosh, and if you want to include both of them, then it is called as an imagotype. But when we come to this particular Burger King ISO logotype, here you cannot separate the text as well as the over there the icon. Both of them are very much compact and both of them together make the final logo standing out of the brand. So it is called ISO logotype. So logo definitely is something which is very Adidas. Adidas, Puma, their logos are so popular. So it may not be that the logo of a company is very complex, but the logo has got a clear meaning which goes with the brand, and the people remember the brand by that particular logo. Colors. Now you see McDonald's, this red and yellow color. It speaks so significant. Typography. Tagline. Just do it. Wherever you say just do it, people will immediately say, oh, this is of Nike. So that tagline has built up a very strong identity of Nike in the market. So this way you can see L'Oreal, because you're worth it. So sometimes the taglines, the typography, the colors, the logos, they create a very strong visual element of corporate identity. Prototypes. See, Disney. Disney is a very famous brand. So if you go to a store of Disney, you will find Disney, the same company, but in different products, you will find that Disney is being represented. It can be dress, it can be a bag, whatever it is. It can be some toys. So these are all prototypes materials, merchandise materials, having the same brand, having the same logo being represented in them. So this is called, when we talk about visual element of corporate identity as well as non-visual element of corporate identity. And finally, last, something which is very important, if a brand wants to have a very strong corporate identity, it should have a very good corporate brand architecture. Architecture means how do you create a hierarchy in a brand? All those big brands which are having many sub-brands under it. So what is the relation between the sub-brand and the parent brand? That is called brand architecture, a very important element of corporate identity. So when we talk about corporate brand architecture, these four are something which is very important: monolithic brand architecture, endorsed brand architecture, pluralistic brand architecture, and hybrid brand architecture. We say that whatever a company does, people should know about it, people should be able to understand about it. All those, like Hindustan Unilever, it is having many sub brands under it. So what is the design connection between the main parent brand and all its sub brands? Are they related, or are they semi related, or are the sub brands completely independent? So how much there is a kind of sharing in terms of their design, sharing in terms of their marketing strategies, specifically design strategies? What is the hierarchy in which the sub brands and the parent brands have been placed? This is called brand architecture. The way we say a building's architecture. So what is the architecture of a brand? Means this is Nestle. What are the sub brands of Nestle, and how much are the sub brands related with the parent brand? What kind of structure, what kind of hierarchy is there? That is called the corporate brand. A company should be very clear. A company should be very firm on this. What is the connection between the sub brands and the brands? And that creates a very strong visual corporate identity of a brand in the market. So when we talk about monolithic corporate brand architectures are in case of those companies where you find that the parent brand is very popular and all its sub brands, I will just little bit quickly touch on all these, all its sub brands, they are following mainly the same logo. They can have a change in the color, like FedEx. Now FedEx and all the sub brands of FedEx, whether it is FedEx Freight, whether it is their trade network, these are all sub brands of FedEx. But it has got a monolithic architecture where you find that primarily the main design of the logo is the same. The parent's brand, same logo is being followed on all his sub brands. So the people remember the sub brand by the parent brand. So parent brand is more popular. So whatever design elements you have, whatever visual elements you have, they all follow the main parent brand. Like Google, you have the same kind of logo no matter whatever are the sub products of Google. Next, we come to the endorsed brand architecture. This is somewhere where you find that the sub brands are a little bit popular in themselves, but still they are related little bit with the parent brand. Like Nestle. Now Nestle has got Kit Kat, Nestle has got Maggie. But many people you will find, people love Maggie. Maggie has created its own very distinctive, popularity and place in the market. So the sub brands are very popular. It is not that the sub brands are completely dependent on the parent brand. Maggie has got its own position and place in the market, but still many of the people know that it belongs to Nestle. It belongs to Nestle. So this is called endorsed brand architecture, where a little bit of freedom, a little bit of independence is given to the sub brands. Sub brands have become successful in creating their own mark, their own place in the market, but still there is a kind of relation between the sub brands and the parent brands. And the designing, you can very much see over here, marketing synergy and a connection is there between the parent brand and the sub brand. And the endorsements adds credibility to the sub brands. So nothing else, the sub brands are remembered by the parent brands. So the parent brands have given them the freedom, but they add credibility to the sub brand. At least we say that Maggie is a product of Nestle. So Nestle somewhere is adding credibility to Maggie. Otherwise, Maggie is very much free. It has created its own position in the market. But some amount of credibility Maggie gets because we say it's a sub-brand of Nestle. So the parent brand is still remembered. Like you see over here, Marriott. See, Marriott's, all these different sub-brands are there. Sheraton, Residence Inn, they are very popular in themselves. Many people you might be seeing, they like Sheraton, or maybe they don't like the Residence Inn. See, they're all belonging under Marriott. So the sub-brands are very popular in themselves, but still, the parent brand significance is there. There is still a kind of relation between the parent brand and the sub-brand. So that makes it different from monolithic. And now we come down to the pluralistic. Pluralistic is completely independent, where you find that the sub-brands have far ahead, or they have become completely separate from the parent brand, to be very honest. Now when we talk about Procter and Gamble, it has got all these sub products. Tide is there, Gillette is there, all this Game is there, Dawn is there. But if you ask the people, and if you really check out, how many people really know that Gillette comes under P&G? Many people don't even know P&G is the parent company of Gillette, or maybe Tide, or whatever it is. So the sub brands are completely independent, to have their own color, to have their own, design elements, and many a times they are completely separate in themselves, as if they are their own brand. So big brands normally have, kind of a completely pluralistic, like Hindustan Unilever. So many products are under it, and many people just don't know they belong to HUL. So the sub-brands are completely distinct in their own way. So this is called pluralistic brand architecture. And finally, the hybrid. Hybrid is that kind of a brand architecture where we see that in the design elements, it is a kind of a hybrid model. These are again huge, big, giant organizations where you find certain sub-products under it, they can follow an endorsed architecture, and certain sub-brands and products under it, they can follow a completely pluralistic. Like for example, under Alphabet nowadays, Google has come. So all Google products, now they are under one huge giant corporation that is called Alphabet. So the Google is having a kind of similarity under them. So you can say that they very much follow the monolithic corporate brand architecture, but there are some other sub-brands which are completely separate and independent. So hybrid is again a different category of, corporate brand architecture, where you find a mixture. It can be endorsed with pluralistic, it can be monolithic with pluralistic. So it's a combination of two or more brand architectures that is called the hybrid brand architecture. And finally, last, we will end by this. Why sometimes a company, normally I said corporate identity is something which is normally fixed and stable in the market, because every now and then, if you keep on changing your culture, if you keep on changing your design elements, long before people understand them, you're changing it. So that doesn't create a very good identity of a brand in the market. So identity is something which is a little bit firm, which is something a little bit stable. But sometimes definitely you need to change the corporate identity. Definitely if the company wants to come up, it wants to, change its image, it wants to refresh its image. Or if the company has added many more new products under it, then it can definitely go for a change in its logo. Maybe it can go for a change in any of its design element, or maybe sometimes the name of the companies also go for a change if there is any kind of a mergers or acquisition, if there is too much of diversification of the business, if there is a kind of business expansion, or if the company feels that no, it's the logo has become little outdated, so now it has to make its logo, like for example FedEx. Earlier people always used to say Federal Express, but finally when the company saw, it did a kind of an audit and a research, it saw everybody is using the word FedEx, FedEx, FedEx. So then they said ki FedEx is a word which, which is a little bit more contemporary, which looks a little bit more, easy to be pronounced, which is a little bit more, very much relevant, with the people are liking it. So let us now call it FedEx. So if a company feels that sometimes it needs to change its name, it can definitely go for it. Like I gave the example of KFC. Sometimes if the company wants to improve the employee morale, it can bring about a change in its corporate identity, maybe a change in its corporate culture. If a company goes for any takeovers, mergers, and acquisitions, then definitely a kind of change may be required in its corporate identity. So definitely, otherwise you will see that normally the identity of an organization, how a company projects itself, how a company presents itself, and it is equally through visual element as well as non-visual elements. And that is something which creates a very unique, differentiating corporate identity of an organization in the market, and which a company normally doesn't feel like changing. So this is something which is very, very important. And now the time is, always it has been like that, but the times are becoming more competitive. New content writing strategies are coming, new digital branding strategies are coming, new brand identity building strategies are coming. There is a difference between all of them. What do you mean by brand? What do you mean by branding? What do you mean by brand identity? So when all these strategies are coming up, how do you create a very strong face and persona of a company in the market? So I would just conclude by one line. It is very, very important that an organization should really try to work in its corporate identity mix area. It has to give equal attention to all those four things which are included under corporate identity mix. It should try to ensure that its products is very good as per the expectations of the customers, people at large. Its communication strategies are very consistent, very accurate, very relevant, very timely. That is the corporate communication. It should ensure that its design elements, that is the visual elements, they are very appealing, they are very professional, and they are very much consistent. If a company goes with red color, everywhere it should use that red color. If a company has got a particular specific kind of typography, each and every stationery, each and every branding, element, each and every stationery item should have that typography. So that is called the design element. And lastly, the culture, the behavior. So these four things and areas, if a company can really work upon, it can build up a very strong corporate identity in the market. So with that, I come to the end of this session. Thank you so much.